Right,
kind of
right.
stuck in a cycle of just derusting constantly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Um,
but since they've added hero bans, I'm really enjoying tank again. Um,
okay, that's good to
so
hear.
yeah,
Yeah, you did mention that tank is slightly lower than your other roles, but that's completely fine as long as long term you can see yourself playing tank. And if hero bands make the characters more fun for you, which honestly I've actually played a lot of Malga because of hero bands because I can just ban out Ana.
yeah,
That's more than
yes,
reasonable. So I think like the way I normally describe hero pools to players is in terms of instruments. So like think of like I don't know, playing the violin for a week and then the double bass for the next
right,
week, and then I don't know the cello for the week after, you would have made more of an improvement had you spent all 3 of those weeks on just the violin or just one of these instruments. And that's kind of
yeah,
like you can think of these instruments as like heroes in the game basically. And yes, like I think playing Sig completely reasonable. He never gets banned anyways. So honestly, you could probably spend as much playtime or as much as time as you want just playing Sig in a single season because he just never gets banned. I would
yeah.
try and maybe think about what do you play or have considered any other tanks other than Sigma at the moment?
I was like a for tank. I was just a diva one trick.
Right.
And I've been like mid diamond with her a few times on and off over the years when
Hmm.
I've been playing her. And then it was just this season I was like, I'm gonna try Sig, and then I really enjoy his kit.
Right.
I've got like 30 something hours on him in comp, but I've hit this plateau, so I think it
Okay.
would be Sig and Diva for me.
Yeah. I think that's a good hero to base yourself around. But yeah, if Sig
Nice,
ever gets banned, then you can go to Diva or whatever the case may be. Yeah, Sig should never get banned. I've literally never seen him get banned, so you'll be fine. You can sink your teeth into him. So that's Sig.
nice.
What stuff are you generally looking for in the character? What are your strengths on the hero?
To be honest, I don't really know. I'm kind of new to him.
Okay.
I've been watching like some OBS Soj, like Vestola, Max, some like unranked to GM stuff, and just kind of getting an idea of like what what he's supposed to be doing and things, like how his kit rolls. But normally as a player, I think my strength is mechanics.
Okay.
Um, and then I tend to get overwhelmed when it comes to the like macro because it just, especially if I'm playing Diva, I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to do?
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
like she's a Swiss Army knife, so it's like, okay, which tool am I trying to be using right now?
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, my mechanics on Sigma right now are really, really awful because I don't have much playtime.
Okay.
But I'd say that's normally my strong suit. Like when the season 9 patch rolled in, I just deranked loads on Zen. I went from master to diamond because I was just losing all my 1v1s.
Right.
Um,
So, but yeah, I think the thing there's two things with that. So the first thing is, it is actually good to watch OBS Sojin and look at POVs. I mean, actually, most even
right.
high level players don't even do that, and it's something that I suggest to them because if you want to learn the micro of your character, so maybe
Yeah.
you want to learn how to like shield or like especially like, specific
Yeah.
matchups, so like playing Hazard into Ana, for example, is a big one. Then watching how
Right.
to do that is really important. The only thing or the nuance or the caveat with watching OBS
Mm,
Sojin is that notice how you've watched Pistola and you've watched Unranked GMs and you still don't know what your character's good at. And that's kind of the important
right.
point, which is you're
Yeah.
almost you don't want to. I guess the saying is that you don't want to like walk before you can run, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas for the,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
literally only suggest doing that if you're like tier 3 or your GM, and you just need to learn the micro
Okay.
of your character really. For
Right.
you, it would be learning the fundamentals of your character, what you're actually supposed to do in the mid fight, because that is really important and it is hard to
Yeah.
do.
That's where I get stuck.
Right, even with master level players, it's something that I've talked to them a lot about. Because that's where even in masters and low GM, it's still really hard
Mm,
to like identify. Oh yeah, I should be doing this now. Well, and even there's
yeah.
more nuance in higher ranks too, like doing two things at the same time. Your character can do that, so maybe I don't know. You're playing against Tracer Ash, and in the mid fight, you're shooting Tracer or marking Ash with your shield, and that can be difficult to
Yeah.
do, especially mechanically. So yeah,
Right.
we'll get into the stick stuff here. We'll talk about your fundamentals against the comp here. Generally, what I'm looking for is avoiding their hog where possible and marking and dueling their ash as much as you can. In other words, you do not want to let
Okay.
that ash get a good angle on the enemy team. If I see that ash coach comes to high grounds and she gets a really good angle, you need to be shooting her off, and trying to mark her and try and get a kill. if possible.
Right.
Your
Yeah.
rock, because I'm not really seeing any dive characters, your rock's mainly going to be used to enable that aggression some kind of way. Of course, your rock can be different to how you can target different characters with your rock. But in this situation, I don't really see much about that. I mean, maybe you can rock the Mei and then force cryo, and then you can keep shooting the Ash. That might be reasonable. But yeah, we'll see how this goes here. But the big thing is,
Oh, okay.
the big fundamental of this comp here is your character's really good at marking Ash from distance. So we'll see again how much you do that in this mod. What I don't want to
Probably not
see,
a lot. I
yeah,
think I get really bogged down with the hog.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like, no, my teammates are gonna get hooked, and then
right,
I can't decide, where I'm supposed to be or what I'm supposed to do.
right. It might be
Yeah,
something again that linking back to just the thing about marking different characters with aggression. What is scary about Hog?
just the hook.
Just the hook, right? So you can just shield the hook off, and then for six
Yeah,
seconds you can almost switch targets because his aggression is almost like a. If I draw a graph of it, it's
it's on a
basically like
cycle.
exactly right, like it's
Yeah,
kind of like this. So for
yeah,
these periods of time, you can start looking at Ash a little bit more, and that can free up your sort of mental load essentially. By oh yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah,
just
yeah.
blocked hook. I'm actually fine. I can look around for like the next 6 seconds or so. But
Yeah.
yeah, okay, we'll see here. All right. Going hog on here, perfectly reasonable. Fine. Of course, first fight, you don't know that they're running hog, so I'll be more lenient on this. Of course, hog just gets a one shot there, so there's not much you can do about it.
Right.
I think this is fine so far. Okay. Okay. So warship before I say anything. Okay. 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 Right, so the first thing here, why do you drop off?
That's,
Nice.
well, I jump off because I want the easier shots, and I want to
Right.
see who the squishies are.
Right.
Um, but I think also it's just like tunnel vision, you know.
Exactly, right?
Um, I
Um,
just get sucked towards things, like
yeah.
yeah,
There's a really like practical tip you can do to fix television, especially on Sigma. You can even do this on Zen as well. But because the
mm,
recovery time in between your shots is so long, you can actually just look around in between your shots. So like you'll fire two hyperspheres,
right,
you fire two of these
yeah,
shots, and then look to the left, and then you fire two shots, look to the left, right? And if no one's here, then you
yeah.
just keep shooting the hog. That's fine. Or again, you can start rotating and moving to this left side angle here and start shooting the ash. And this kind
Oh
of like
yeah,
yeah, this is like really this is what I call mid-fight rotations with players, where in the
right,
mid-fight you're looking for different positions to sort of play. And this is an example of that. And it's a very small example, but just by maybe the Ash plays wide here. If I'm coaching this Ash, I'm actually saying play wide here. I don't know why she's sort of walking into this enclosed space that's very close to you. I would widen the angle if I was the Ash, and you could
yeah,
actually mark that out had you like again been a little bit more aware or just looking around in between your shots a little bit more.
mm,
So this is really important. Again, hopefully the hog should be your visual cue to sort of say to you, you know what, if this guy hasn't got hook, then I can start moving around a little bit more, opening up my
yeah,
awareness, right? And even if he does have hook, right, you can still look at him, right? You can still shoot shots, block hook with your shield, and then look to the left anyways. So it's a balancing act between those two angles here essentially.
yeah,
Between the aggressive, nature of his hook, but also the angle that the Ash and the Mercy want to be playing with here as well. So the dropping off thing again is television. Is kind of the main error. Because if
right,
I see here, that shield
yeah,
initially wasn't great.
yeah.
And then look at your POV here. Right, Ash is consistently shooting at you. If I look
And
at
she's got a dynamite.
right, if I
Yeah,
go to her POV now, like again, she's dynamiting your Cassidy here, and this is exactly what I don't want to be seeing. Where you can prevent
yeah,
this entirely. Had you been standing here, the dynamite it just gets shielded off, right? You shoot the enemy Ash, your Cassidy can stay on
it's
the high ground
huge.
here. Yeah, exactly right. It's huge. So yeah, it's very unfortunate. Thankfully, Ash just misses 3 shots back to back to back onto your Cassidy, so Cassidy's actually fine here. But yeah, obviously not a great start there for your Cassidy. And again, you'd be safer. That would be entirely prevented just by virtue of you staying high ground here.
Yeah,
So yeah, bit unfortunate that. Okay, of course you get run over. This is also another thing of Sigma 2. I didn't really mention against the Mei. But you will and you will you just will get run over against characters like
yeah, yeah. I
Margot
struggle with
Ryan,
the May.
right? Mei as
Um,
well.
I can
Honestly,
rock her and force cryo, but then she can just walk into me anyway.
right.
And there's just not a lot I can do.
Yeah,
Like by the time I kind of get her low and get out wall and everything and cryo, she just gets healed. um,
Right.
and
Um,
it's like a massive waste of time.
that's why I wouldn't think of, or I wouldn't worry about Mei. I would just literally just shoot Mei from distance. And I guess the key thing with Mei is
Okay,
playing positions such that if she wants to come and force you out, she needs to put herself at risk. So what I mean by that
right,
is if you're playing, and this is what I normally refer to this as aggressive but safe spaces in my videos. But basically,
right,
if you're playing this high gun over here and she wants to come and get you, so maybe Mei's here, you're here. Same thing. This actually
yeah,
applies to the Ashe too, or anyone on their team. If they want to come and force you out, they need to put themselves in danger to do so. So maybe Mei needs to peek this corner here in open space to be able to come and get you.
it's gonna
Or
take
to
a lot
walk.
of poke.
Exactly, right? Maybe
Yeah,
she wants to come all the way around the elevator, in which case that's still dangerous because you can out rotate her, you can move to the left side a little bit more, and she needs to move across the entire gap here in front of your team to be able to do that kind of thing. While you're still again shooting her from high ground, and your cast is still shooting her from high ground. In other words, it's risky to do so. If she wants to come and get you, but here you're kind of giving it to her for free. You're allowing her to walk onto you for free by
yeah,
virtue of you dropping off. That's kind of the main thing here. And again, I think this just suits into the mindset of Sigma generally. So in this first fight, we can summarize this fight in terms of the macro is marking the Ashe, making sure that again you're looking to mark her and force a duel whenever you can, put her under immense pressure where possible, but also still marking the hook and keeping awareness of the hog and the Mei if when you can.
right,
And the micro there is shooting off the dynamite, shooting off the hook, and again looking in between your shots so that you're aware of the both angles to the left and right.
yeah.
That's how I would
Okay,
summarize that
cool.
fight. But yeah, okay. Let's see next fight. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Obviously, if the hog is, there we go. Okay. 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 And this is the key thing here, right? So if I zoom out, right? There's two angles here that you need to be marking. Right? There's a
Yeah,
scary hog player who can hook anyone off the map here, obviously, but also
mhm.
a pocketed Ashe player with a mage shooting down from this angle here too, right? So the second that you block hook, or the second that hook's no longer an issue, what should you be doing?
Poking at that Ash and May.
Right, exactly, right? Like shielding these guys off, especially because again, a pocket Ashe and a Mei and a Kiriko is going to be
Oh
very,
yeah,
very
that's
dangerous from
huge,
distance,
huge
right?
burst damage. Okay,
Exactly.
cool. Because I was
Uh,
thinking I need to save barrier, and just use cover and poke them because um I need the barrier to block the hook. But I
mm,
guess the damage boosted Ash and May poke and everything can just kill people when they're trying to walk up anyway. So
right. So I mean, why would you want to save shield for hook?
um I can't block it otherwise.
Right? Is hook scary?
Yeah,
Yeah, it
in this
is, right?
position, yeah.
Especially in this position right now, it is scary. Generally, it is just scary as well, but especially in this position, it is. But conversely, are these guys also scary?
Yeah, that's true.
Right. So that's the thing with Shield, or just your character in general. And this is just tank actually, more so in general. This applies to Diva, Winston, right? Like you're blocking and marking aggression. That's just how simple I would sort of phrase it, right? And again,
Yeah,
this is how this is a good way of picturing it. Where again, maybe in the mid fights, you said at the beginning, you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed with what you're doing on the character, but the second
yeah.
you block the shield, or that you shoot off this hook, I need you to immediately be looking and paying attention to these characters over here, right?
Okay.
There's also there's two sides to that as well, right? So, do you do you always need to be shooting the target that you're shielding?
No,
No, right?
no.
So actually, what you could be doing here maybe is shoot, just put your shield here against the hog, and then almost face tank these characters over here. So you could shoot these
Yeah,
characters, and then use your kinetic grasp, and then you can just absorb the damage, right? You can grasp this off, shoot off the hook, and if you just shoot off the hog here, you can't do it. You literally can't do anything about it. Only thing you can do is shoot your shield, right? But he's wasting his time by doing that, and that allows your team to safely walk up here. So that's also a really, I guess, key point here because shooting, who's more scary of your shots here, the hog or the Ashe and the Mei and the Kiriko? Who's more scary of your
um,
shots?
definitely the Ash and May and Kiri.
Right? Why these characters?
Um, Smaller health pool
Yeah,
puts them in range of being burst down by the rest of my team, like a
exactly.
Soj Rail or Zen Shot.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like it's
Um,
just break points and health pools is all it
yeah,
really is. Um,
yeah,
So yeah, that's basically it, right? And then of course that links into your rock as well, because if you got these characters low, so maybe the Ash, let's say, got to like 3 bars of HP, then that can make sense to rock the Ash there as well. Again, you can even link
Oh,
into
okay.
your perks as well, maybe. So again, maybe the thing that's like perk that essentially, I think it's if you get a lot of shield with your grasp, then that regenerates your the cooldown for your accretion.
Yeah.
That links
Yeah.
into that
Yeah.
as well. So again, maybe you use accretion, and then you use your grasp, and then you get accretion back a little bit quicker, and then you can rock any of these targets here. That'd be a nice cycling of cooldowns there. So you're seeing how the macro of your character fluidly fits into the micro of what you're doing. And
Yeah.
again, I guess the way
I
I
think.
yeah, go on.
Sorry. I think what I tend to do is like I hold my grasp for too long, and I'm really precious with my shield. Or I'm like in a game like recently, I'm
Right,
like, right, okay, today I'm going to practice my shield use because I don't really know how to position or anything like that. I'm just kind of like, you know, um, and then I'm just thinking about that. So I wouldn't be like, I wouldn't want to put my barrier there in front of Hog for 2, 3 seconds because it would just break. And
right,
then
right.
I'd have to use Grasp to, would I walk up on the Ash and May
What
with Grasp
what do you
or go
think?
like swing into the corner and keep poking them?
Right, so that's important, right? So being able to mark these characters safely is also really important too. So,
Yeah.
but it's also making
I
sure that
can't
you're
just sit, I can't just sit by that pillar for
exactly right.
time, right?
So that's kind of the nuance here is making sure that you can still aggress onto these characters and mark them out while not putting yourself in direct danger. So yeah, I think
Right.
a way of playing this is there's two ways you can play this. Very simply, you can just shoot off the hog, walk up here, grasp in front of them. That'll give you a good amount of shield, and it will also you can actually walk up to them safely because you're grasping.
Yeah.
You shoot these guys. When you shoot these guys, they'll back off, and then again you can put down your shield afterwards, and then hopefully that'll create space for your team. Or
Yeah.
you can just shoot off the hook specifically, and then after you've done that, put down your shield, and then you can shoot off these characters. Then you can walk forward a little bit more and mark these characters here, right? I don't
Right.
really care too much about the micro with how you use your abilities here, but what I do
Yeah.
care is that you actually are marking these characters. And making sure that these characters can't get kills on this sort of angle here or this distance. So we'll look at
Yeah.
here
That makes sense.
in terms of what you're looking at and what you're doing. So good, right? But again, the second this comes down, I need you immediately turn to these characters. And of course, your shield's got a cooldown here. It's got like a 2 second cooldown or 1.5 second
Yeah.
cooldown. So of course, your shield needs to be quick. You need to be quick with putting down the shield and quick to actually marking these characters here immediately. We'll see if you actually end up doing that. We're looking at Hog there. You get some good shots. Shield's good. Okay. Okay. It's still a little bit, you're not marking these characters as much as I would like you to do. So it's not terrible here what they're doing. The shield's actually pretty good here. But again, I want more aggression on these characters. I guess a nice way you can think of doing it is, hell, you can even do it the other way around here, right? Because now you could shoot off these characters. Once you shoot off these characters, are they doing stuff? Are they that dangerous?
No.
No, not really, right? So you
So
can
we
shoot
can
off these
confirm the kill
characters.
on the Hog.
Exactly, right? So
Is
once you shoot
this?
these guys
Yeah.
off, they're not dangerous anymore. They're not that aggressive, right? You haven't got to mark it as
Yeah.
much. So then you can turn around and look at the hog, right? And this is kind of what I call, again, I haven't used it as much as my recent videos, but I sometimes call it the turn and burn, where you zone off their backline to burn their front line. Or you can zone
Yeah.
off their front line to burn their backline. But more so, is this kind of the standard case here, where these guys,
Yeah.
they're not doing anything, they're basically useless, and right now, again, you can just turn around here because of it and burn the hog. And this would be a good case of it here.
I've
So yeah.
seen that idea in some like educational vids on SIG, like talking
Mm,
about the Junker Queen and the Zaya and Ram matchup and everything. 'Cause, like I just get run over when I'm one tricking him.
mm,
Um, and especially if they've got like a Juno or whatever. And I think, okay, well, I have to cut off their healing, and maybe I have to trade backlines, or maybe I have to cut the backline off and focus the tank. But I can't decide which one to do. I feel like I can't tell. And then sometimes I worry that I've made the right choice, but it just didn't. I didn't execute it right. And do you know
mm.
what I mean? I feel
Right,
like I
right.
can't tell.
Yeah.
Like with support, I feel like it's easy to know if I've messed up because I just get sent back to spawn like straight away.
Right,
But
right.
with tank, it's like a bit more kind of complicated.
Yeah, it's more implicit visual cues that will tell you this, right? So
Yeah.
the implicit visual cue here is how aggressive are these characters playing right now?
Not very. They're
Not
backing
very,
off.
right? Not literally not at all, right? Especially because of your shield here, right? Once you
Yeah.
shield these guys off, they just can't do anything. They literally are useless because of your shield
Right.
for a temporary period of time, right? Until it breaks,
Yeah.
obviously. There's that window of time. It's that visual understanding that, hey, once I shield these guys off, they're not going to be doing anything. That tells you, you
Right.
know what, now I've got a short window of time that allows me to burn the hog. That's the visual cue here. It's the everything is
Right.
linking back to the aggression of what's on your screen, the aggression of these characters here, every single time. So this is kind of it here, against I guess in this case against, you know, splitting off the enemy hog here, and
Yeah.
the implicit cue here is, can this hog get help when you shoot off their backline?
No.
No, you can't, right? There's no LOS to it, right? It's completely
Yeah.
split and isolated. So that's also the cue here too. Now, a nice thing I guess I'll sort of draw out here are the I guess triggers or cues that you can look out for. So the big one here is positional. So in other words, in this situation,
Right.
their backline are far and they've got no LOS hog, or conversely, again, the hog is just isolated. So that's the cue or the trigger that tells you to look at the hog or to go onto the hog here, because you can turn and burn him essentially here.
Right.
That's the
Okay.
visual
Yeah.
cue.
Yeah.
Second one is HP. Right, obviously right now hog is very low, so hog is low. I also think the cooldowns here too. So I think hog has Discord on him right now. If I clear this, yeah, he's currently got Discord on him right now. So that's another cue to use a Discord. What else? Oh yeah, hook as well. So again, as we just sort of mentioned here, right? Once Hog's used hook, again, this links back into what you were just doing here. Once Hog's used hook, then you can turn around and start looking at the aggression from these guys, and that's how you balance it out essentially. And then the last one, or there's other ones as well. So like your ultimates here maybe. So, let's say, their Ash. I mean, a more obvious example is kind of overclock. So maybe the Ash there was a Sojourn, and then she started overclocking. Then you'd be looking to mark the enemy Sojourn because overclock is
Yeah.
also very important to shut down. Also there's your own ultimate too. There's also Flux. So maybe you Flux the enemy Ash here, and then you'd be looking to target the enemy Ash because obviously she's very killable in Flux. There's also last
Right.
one is also numbers here too, which is also quite nice. It's fairly obvious here. If Hog's dead, for example, then it becomes pretty easy to just mark Ash because no one else is going to be playing that aggressive, generally speaking, on this comp here. Things become easier when people are dead, obviously. But it's the cues. These are the cues that will happen in the game that will essentially tell you who to go on and when. And in this case, again, the big ones are the HP pool and the positional stuff from the Hog and their backline. But yeah. So, because right now you've zoned them off, right? This again, I referred to this as zoning my videos. You've zoned these guys off, right? And now is a good time to turn and burn the enemy Hog here. But yeah, we'll see what happens here. I think Hog will probably die for this. Yeah, nice. Finish shutdown's fine. This is actually good. I'm actually glad you put down your shield. And now, when you're walking forward and looking to aggress onto these characters, then shielding here makes more sense because now you're walking forward and you're aggressing onto their backline. So shielding here, goods. Okay, down goods. I don't mind the grass pit. I don't think it's terrible. I get why you do it. This is again. I'm not gonna harp on to this a bit too much because I think this is slightly above your pay grade. Essentially here, like the enemy Ash, or like the visual aggro that you're taking isn't that high. May's currently reloading right now, and Ash is yes. Like you can see her. She's like sort of clocking her gun here essentially, and he's like subtle visual cues. I'm not gonna cry about you not getting these. I think Ash is also like not getting pocketed right now. So honestly, you don't need to be using Grasp here. I'll only really be using it again once May's going on to you. But yeah. What cooldown might be? Ooh, okay, a little bit. What cooldown might be useful here once May uses her wall?
Rock,
Rock,
of course.
right? So yeah, rock would be quite nice here. Obviously, she gets Suited here, right? But of course, you can't know that. So rocking May here would be quite nice. And again, this is the balance of sticking with her as well. So what's something you can maybe do while or before you rock the enemy May? What did you just do to the enemy Hog?
Shield off the Kiri Hill.
Not exactly what I was thinking, right? But
Or shield off that Ash and Mercy.
Exactly, right? So
Right.
shield these guys off with your shield. Put it right here, and then rock out of the enemy Mei and force out the enemy Mei. Again, very similar turn and burn thing. Because again, once you shield off the enemy Ashe, she's not going to be doing much. She can't move. She can't outmaneuver your shield here. She can only stop to break it. Of course, your shield is very low here. It's 156, right? So again, probably not ideal thing to do here. It's something to again keep a note of if you want to again more easily burn the Mei. Notice how you're shielding the Mei here, right? But the Ashe is the big threat. You notice how the dynamite went past you right there, right? But shooting it off there,
the shield isn't doing anything here.
Exactly, right? Exactly. It's just doing nothing.
It's not regenning.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So I would have kept shielded to regen, or just briefly put it on the enemy Ashe here. But yeah. And again, notice how you would switch targets yet again, right? Because now amazing cryo, right? So now you switch aggression. Now you'd be looking to go for the enemy Ashe or the enemy Kiri. I'd probably say enemy Ashe because she's fairly dangerous right now.
Discorded.
And discorded here as well, exactly, right?
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay. Right, but notice how because you didn't block off dynamite, and I think Ashe got a shot onto your Juno too.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's the important thing. And I mentioned it at the beginning of this as well too. If anyone dies to Ashe, it's probably gonna be your fault 9 times out of 10. And this is what Tank's all about. It's marking aggression here. Or marking the aggression from the enemy Ashe. And here, again, you kind of got a little bit tunneled onto the enemy Mei. It's kind of the big thing. But yeah, it's having that object permanence of knowing where targets are and knowing how aggressive they are, right? Because especially here when I asked you, like, what frame was it? Like, around about here, like, who do you go on? You said Kiri here, right? Even though, again, that's because she's on your screen. But right now, there's Ashe to your left, who was literally just on your left right now. And that's why it's so important to have that mindset or to have a template, have a framework of who you want to be able to mark from the get-go. Again, that's always going to be the pocket Ashe. It's going to be the key targets to mark it. But yeah. Okay. Hopefully still win this fight, regardless of that though. We'll see. Okay. Rock's okay. 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 So the shield is not terrible.
My aim is awful.
And game's not great here. I'm not gonna cry about your aim too much here. What I do want you though is your shield to be put down. Put down your shield. Put down your shield.
Oh yeah. Oh fuck.
Yeah, you took a very long time to put it down, right? And you're also very tunneled against the enemy Mei here, right? Because if I zoom out and I look at the Ashe again, right? Like, she is very... Now, thankfully, your team clear her out, right? But this becomes very scary. Where, again, I need a shield here. Now, I don't mind you shooting the enemy. This is, again, where we get into multitasking here, right? Where you can put a shield to mark off this angle, right? And, at the same time, you can be going onto the Mei, right? And this is, the key thing with Sig, is marking or, like, blocking aggression in accordance to your character. Because it's completely fine. You can aggress into the Mei here. I'm completely fine with that. She's low HP. You got a trigger. Right? That's reasonable. And I think she also used cryo here 5 or 10 seconds ago. Like, that's completely reasonable to shoot the Mei here, right? But that doesn't come, or that shouldn't come, at the cost of ignoring the Ashe. And that's kind of the second half of the equation there. And again, we sort of saw that the first time here, right, where you failed to block the enemy Ashe. We're seeing it for the second time now, where because you you don't block the Ashe damage here, your cast almost dies because of it. Luckily, again, your team sort of burned the enemy Ashe here, thankfully. But this is the nuance here. It's keeping the Ashe aware.
That's crazy,
right?
That object permanence thing that you're talking about. Like, Hog's dead, and I see cryos out, and I'm like, oh, I can just walk in and do whatever, and like end my cooldowns, and it doesn't matter, we've won. But Ashe can still carry the fight. Like, I give her all these free damage boosted shots when my team's trying to walk in.
Yeah. I wouldn't. Yeah, I mean, that's a good summary of it, I suppose, right? Because now, like, this is stuff that in the actual game itself you're not going to be aware of. This is stuff that you're not seeing, and this is actually what the issue is with most players in your kind of elo is not what they do, but what they don't do, and things that they miss in the game, and then wonder, oh, why am I not farming? Right? It's literally this is it. Right? Like, if I had to like sort of sum it up or have a microcosm of why, it's this sort of fight going on, where for multiple times. Again, we almost saw 3 occasions of it here. We saw it against the Hog over here, and this was like fairly okay, I'd say. Here was a little bit egregious. Here it's like getting to like an almost egregious point where literally your cast almost dies because of your inability to shoot off the Ashe while you're walking up here and shooting the Mei. Is how I would summarize it. But yeah, I think
Right.
this is probably going to be a consistent theme going into the next fight. So it's three occasions there in what the span of 20 seconds in a fight where your teammates could have or did actually die against an Ashe because you were too focused or too tunneled on what you were shooting. It is also really common in team play too. Teams will lose 5v4s. It's very common for teammates or teams to just turn their brains off in a 5v4. But now we
Right.
saw how this could have been from a 5v4 into a 3v4 because your Juno and your Cass here could have died.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay. Thankfully again she gets cleared. But yeah. Okay. See here. Feels good. I'm okay with this shield. I'm perfectly reasonable. Okay. Boss okay. I don't really mind about the res too much. I'm not gonna crap about the micro about how you could have rocked maybe the mercy. You could have moved it. I'm not gonna crap about that too much. Okay. And here's where we get really overwhelmed here, right? Where Ashe gets rezzed and we don't know where to go on. So who's aggressive right? Who's going to be aggressing onto you right now?
Well, they've used Rush and Valk, so they can just walk in real fast, like. So I kind of want a corner,
Right, you want a corner
and to recharge my shield.
and to recharge your shield here, right? I guess like the key things here is I would be. I mean, Hog. I think when did you mark it out? Quite a while ago actually. So how about here? So 1, 2, 3, 4. But so, but yeah, it's literally like right now, especially the Kitsune rush. What does the Kitsune tell you from the enemy team? What does that imply?
They've got Herc,
Mm.
and they're gonna walk in.
Yes, that exactly
They're
right.
gonna go on my Soj.
Exactly, it implies aggression, right? And that tells you, especially considering Hogs, even without Kitsune, he's probably 1 second off his hook right now. He's probably already got it. Like now is when okay, I hit Kitsune going down. I know Hog's got a hook coming back right now. That's your trigger. That's your visual cue in the game that tells you, you know what, I need to be blocking hook. So what you could have done here, just pop your shield over here, block this angle, or block whatever you think Hog's gonna come through, and then play this corner, and then recharge your shield, and then we can get into stuff about rotations and using your flux here afterwards. But yeah, that would be again the key marking of aggression there is the Kitsune and the Hog. Fortunately, you get a little bit tunneled by the res, and then Vision gets hooked. But yeah. Okay, rock's fine. And here, what are you not looking at the entire time?
I don't even know at the moment. I'm hearing the Bob, and I just want to confirm the kill on
The Hog,
the
right?
Hog.
And
Definitely tunnel
very
vision
tunnel
way
on the
too
Hog,
much.
right?
Yeah.
Who's not on your screen? We'll start from there.
Ashe again.
Yes. Right. So if I go to Ash's POV, look at how much he does. So we're gonna start from
Oof.
when she gets to high ground. Round about here to 2:15. Right. So Dynamite not blocked. 1. The Ashe Zen's dead there because of it. Oh, Zen doesn't die there, thank God, because I think he gets the mini there. So, but almost dies because of it.
Yeah.
Dies anyways. Juno gets zoned off. Right, and that's like the important angle to control. Right? And the entire time, he was so focused on getting the Hog kill that you forgot there was a national high grounds. There's two things, again, there's two things to this, right? First off, again, I don't mind trying to confirm the kill against the Hog. That's fine. I genuinely, he's discorded, he's low HP, he's walking in front of you. There's plenty of triggers to be able to go onto him, right? So once he, goes here, right? How could you use a cooldown against the Hog and the Ashe? What's like a combination you could do?
I can shield the Ashe and then shoot the Hog.
Right. Exactly. And that's kind of again how, or what you could do is do shield and shoot the Ashe, get her off high grounds, and then maybe rock the Hog essentially. So there's a multitude of things you can do here maybe. So you can shield off the Ashe, rock the Hog, and then do a combo against the Hog. That's fine. And then go back to shooting Ashe. Because your shield's probably gonna break by then. But yeah, again, the point here being is that I want some aggression to mark the Ashe because she's the dangerous one here, especially after she jumps up to the high ground here and after the Hog's used hook. Now again, this stuff isn't immediately obvious here, But even a look, even a little glance at the Ash, even just a little,
Yeah.
two a hypersphere,
Yeah.
two shots onto the Ash, it would have been quite nice just to get it off the high
Yeah.
grounds. But yeah, unfortunately, again, you're so tunneled on the enemy hog here that you forget about the Ash on high grounds. You didn't even realize she was on the high ground, anyways. But yeah,
It's crazy that my shield's still really
just
low
up,
and I
right?
can't
Yeah,
catch
yeah,
up from like 20 seconds ago where I
right.
forgot to withdraw it.
And even the shield here is, again, it's not necessary. Right? You can rock the hog when he walks up here, and the Ash is the big threat on the high ground.
Yeah.
That needs to be marked here. But yeah, okay. I think after that combo again, after you hit that combo against the hog, this is when I'd immediately start looking at the Ash. Because now you should know. I've done my combo, but hog just isn't killable. He's too high HP. He just lives, That's when immediately after you hit your combo, you realize you can't kill the hog. That's when you turn to the Ash. But again, not even a look at the Ash. Sort of it shows me that again you're not thinking about her angle here at all. Again, just sort of zones and kills your
Just
team.
like not registering her as a threat at all. I'm just like, my
Right.
job is to get
Exactly.
cryo out and not let my team get hooked. And
Right,
I
right.
can't even do that. They just get blown up by dynamite.
Yeah, yeah. Now you're a diva here, right? And I think this
Yeah.
is an important sort of lesson or understanding where so far throughout the VOD, I guess I'll ask you this: like, why do you go diva here?
I think I felt like that hog interaction wasn't enough and I needed to do more against Ash. Like with Diva, it's more intuitive to me. I can go fly on her. I
Right,
can eat the dynamite more easily.
right.
Um, but
Um,
I can do the same with Sig. Yeah.
exactly, right? And this is what is almost like not preventing players from not improving. It's they go in, they face some sort of pressure, but they face some sort of resistance.
Yeah.
They don't really know what to do. And Overwatch, especially in this elo, as we've seen, it's about how you play, not what you play. And the
Yeah,
only way you're gonna get
definitely.
better at Sigma is by forcing to play him in these circumstances where, hey, maybe you don't exactly know what to do, or hey, maybe
Yeah.
you're losing fights and you don't exactly know what's going
Yeah.
wrong. It's
But
these
just
kind
have a
of
go.
moments, right? Exactly, right?
Experiment. Yeah.
Where I think after you die, after you flux and die, is kind of the question you need to be asking yourself: is what's going wrong? Who am I not marking out? Who on their team right now is the big threat that's sort of doming my team? And as we've kind
Oh,
of
okay.
seen, it's the
Yeah.
Ash is kind of the
I
main
like
answer
that.
to that.
That's a really big simplification. Like I die. Okay, who did I not mark?
Right. I think that's a really good way
Yeah.
of looking at it. Um,
Yeah.
because
Did I need to? Sorry, did I need to flux the Ash down at the top?
I mean, yeah, we could
Like after Hog wasn't killable.
Right, we could have talked about it, right? So there's some micro here, so you could have maybe actually fluxed, flow to high grounds, and then flux the
Oh,
Ash,
okay.
right? And then you get a really nice angle here. There's like other
Yeah.
stuff. There's micro there. That's I say micro, but there's rotational stuff here. There's aggression stuff that you can be doing here for sure.
Mm.
But yeah, again, I don't mind what you did there essentially. When you rock the hog and then you can just shoot the Ash. That's perfectly reasonable to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, of course, if
Okay.
you wanted to flux, that would also be fine. Just make sure the hog hasn't got hook. The big
Yeah.
caveat to that. But yeah, if you
Yeah.
wanted to flux that, that's how you would do it. Essentially, that's the best, most
Okay.
optimal way. Flux, fly to high ground, catch the Ash in the flux, and make sure you don't get hooked by the hog. That's the main thing. But yeah, I think that's a good simplification or a good way of looking at it because so far as we've seen, the reasons you've lost fights have been because of the Ash. First fight, you drop down, then mark Ash. Second fight,
Yeah.
there's multiple occasions where you forgot Ash existed, and that fight you've completely forgot her existence there at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully things we'll skip it a little bit because I want to keep it on Sig here specifically. There we go. Sig on this round. Okay. See here. Actually, just kind of to nail this point home. I've literally been OTPing Malga this entire season. So the 2 hours is literally just Malga's my only tank that I've been playing. And my win rate is 72, which is fairly decent actually.
Nice. Yeah.
But yeah, I think the point here being is Malga, even with Ana bans, like there's so many counters to Malga, and no matter what I go into, I need to learn how to play the character into XYZ situations. I'm not swapping off the character. And I think that's really important. And hopefully, your teammates might shout at you, wherever the case may be. But long-term improvement, like that's really important. Of course,
Definitely.
if you're trying to win the game and trying to look for short-term band-aids of like, okay, I need to win now, then swapping off characters makes sense. This is why you'll see pro players swap off characters because they need to win the game now and not improve at the game. But for you, there's no rush.
Right. Yeah.
There's no rush at all. So I would focus on your long-term improvement of the character. And hopefully next time you're tempted to swap the character, I guarantee you it's because of how you're playing Sigma, not because of the character itself. But yeah.
Right.
Okay. We'll see here. Okay. Yeah, it's a sim comp here, roughly. Immediately, is the Ashe scary?
Yeah.
Right. What could you do? It's shorter than the Ashe a little bit awkward from where you're standing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's awkward, right?
I thought, okay, we have Junkrat. We can go play on the inner bit where he's like, I feel like he's stronger there. And play from
Yeah,
that
yeah,
position.
right.
But I don't know if I was coming that or what. But yeah, that doesn't end up working out at all. And I'm not in a position to shield that Ashe or anything.
Right.
Just be like a crappy turret.
Yeah. Now in fairness, I again, you didn't know exactly where the Ashe was moving out to. Again, I think it's whatever the case may be. I don't really care about what you're playing here so far.
Right.
I care more. The big fish to me is how you respond to the Ashe, if you respond at all. Because what tells you,
Right.
just visually on your screen, what tells you she's actually a threat? What tells you that she's aggressive right
Damage
now?
boosted.
Damage boost is a Q. Yeah, there we go. What else?
She's got an angle.
Angle, sure. What about her body language?
She looks like she's walking forward.
Walking forward, right? That
She
signs
wants blood.
aggression, right? Walking forward here,
Yeah.
right? She's not walking backwards. She's not scared. She's not like walking back to this corner here. And also by virtue, by proxy, she can see your team, right? You can see the dynamite being thrown at, but you can also hear it too. Sort of the clicking sound from dynamite. You can see the smoke there as well. Those are all those things. The small little things are signs of visual cues of aggression that, again, once you see in the game, that needs to be immediately turned on to the enemy Ashe. And of course, you got shield up quite nicely. Yeah, this is what it is. But what else can you do against the enemy Ashe? There's two things you can do. Yeah, Rock's one of them.
Poke her out.
Poke,
Oh, okay.
right, Poke's one, and then Rock as well. Right, so I would expect for you to actually rock the enemy Ashe and then just shoot her and look for the one-shot combo. And then once you do that, even if you don't get the kill, she will, I guarantee you, she will look at you and not your team. And that's the important thing. Isn't even that you get the kill or not. You actually probably will. But that's not even the important factor. It's the fact that she's looking at you and not your team. Because all this kind of stuff right now is very scary. Even though I don't know how, again, it's affecting your team, this to me is very dangerous. And very scary to me. So we'll see how you do against it. Now, the Maeve's obviously walking onto you, so micro-wise, I wouldn't walk forward here, right? These things that I've just mentioned, right? Do you need to walk forward to be able to poke out the enemy Ashe, or to land the rock? Do you need to walk forward to be able to do that?
I'm still in range.
No, you don't. So exactly, right? This is what I mean by... This is what I said at the beginning in terms of Sigma is the best character in the game for marking characters at range. Because you're the only character in the game that can do this kind of thing. If you're D.Va, you actually need to fly onto the enemy Ashe, and then we get into sorts of micro in terms of, okay, I'm playing D.Va here, maybe I fly into the enemy Ashe, maybe I finish my boosters over here, maybe I finish over here, right? I finish on a different angle, maybe I finish here. On Sigma, this is how you would do it, right? Where you stand here, shoot, and then land the rock. That's basically it, right? And then obviously you shield when you see necessary. But yeah. Here, you're gonna put yourself in danger from the Mei. Shield is actually decent though, admittedly. I think Shield's actually good here. Rock's good as well. Okay. Grasp's okay, but again, it's more so a case of like, do you need to be grasping this, right? So, why do you put down your shield?
Really, I could hold it.
Exactly, right? Because your shield here is actually reasonable, right? Ashe is aggressing onto you. You're taking aggression from the Mei here. Yeah, I think shield's okay here. I've got no complaints with the shield. I think you can keep it up, right? I think once you get around this corner, so once you move over here, then you can put it down for a second here.
Okay.
But as you can see right now,
I think my thinking was because I've still got like, I think I had 500 or 600 HP.
you can use your HP, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine as well. You can tank it, but I guess the key thing here is like, I don't want you wasting grasp here essentially because of it.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, you can either like keep the shield here, or you can put the shield down and play your HP pool. That's fine as well. But yeah, I guess the key thing is I don't want grasp being used here because of it.
Yeah.
Okay. See here. Okay. Okay, look at Ashe, Okay, good, not bad. Okay. You are looking at Ashe, which is good. Okay. Okay, I know the shield is, I think, predicting the hook here. But again,
Yeah.
notice how much you're looking at the hog here, right? And the opportunity cost. What's the opportunity cost by you shooting the hog here?
Well, Ash just gets loads of free shots. She can go wherever she wants.
Right, I've got
Don't
no
worry about it.
idea where the Ash is, right? She could be,
Yeah.
if I go to a POV, she'll probably be main, right? Is what I'm expecting. But
Yeah.
a good Ash player will rotate to the Saigon over here, or will rotate
Yeah.
to the swim over here and catch a brick. And that's sort of the awareness that you're lacking, or again, that I need to be seeing here, essentially. So
Yeah.
marking hog here, fine. Okay, sure. But notice how, like I said at the beginning, you can practice this by looking in between your shots, right? So shoot the hog, look around, shoot the hog, look around, right? Or
Yeah.
again, you can shoot the Ash, look around, shoot the Ash, look around. And again, your shots are just more worthy. Your shots are better against the enemy Ash rather than the hog because of HP pools here. So this is kind of the balancing act that I want to be seeing. Okay. If I go to our POV, this might become a little bit clearer. Okay. Yeah, right, like this is literally just almost kills your Juno because of it.
Yeah.
Because you're barely looking at her. If she hit that last shot, then your Juno would have been cooked. Right, your Cass also gets a little bit scared there. Then I might swing onto your Cassidy. Like it just becomes really uncomfortable because of how
You just don't have a clue. Yeah.
you never clear her. You never clear her.
Yeah.
Never at all. And this is what I guess I like to call like front to backing. And what I mean by that is you just match the enemy tank here. Or you just the front lines match is kind of what I mean by front to backing. And this is really not great on your character because again, the aggression, the scariness is the Ash, as we've seen just now. You know, almost kills a Juno and almost kills a Cassidy. Because of again, you're not looking at her, and it's really easy to fix. All it requires is 1 or 2 shots, just a little bit of tension, right? It's 1 or 2 shots here. Rock's fine. Just zone her out. Right? Again, you can do the ton of burn thing, right? Zone her away. I don't need you to get the kill. Just make her useless, and then you can turn around and look at the hog, right? Very similar to what we saw on the second fight, right? Very similar kind of thing. So yeah,
Cuts off the Kiri heals as well.
exactly.
Is
Yeah,
the position
bonus as
okay,
well.
or should I be on
Yeah,
like
position's
the
okay,
left side
right?
of point? Or okay.
Why is the position here okay?
I can back up to some cover and get the mini.
Right, you've got a retreat path, right? Can you mark out the hog and the Ash at the same time?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Right? You can hedge your bets between the two. So I've got no concerns, right? You've got cover here, you've got a retreat path, you've got LOS into both the hog and the Ash. Yeah, I'm okay with this, right? No real complaints about your position here, really.
Okay.
Only thing I'd say here maybe is you can actually, if you're playing a little bit more aggressively, you can actually rotate through this room and then play a lot more aggressively onto their backline and look for a one-shot kill.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the only thing I would say here. But barring this, I think this is fine.
Is it all right to do that then? Like I'm thinking Hog's better at getting picks and like trading backline than I am. If I just walk round into there, am I okay
I would
to
say
do that?
I would say it's better to do that than what you're doing here, i.e. marking and just looking at the hog the entire time. But yeah, I think it's something worth, I guess, at least bringing up it because with you and hog, the difference is you can stay on an angle longer than hog can because of your shield. And the amount of time, or you just bleed less ult charge, or you bleed less resources for it. So if you were standing here compared to hog, sure you haven't got the burst pick potential of hook, right? But you can just stand here for a lot longer period of time and keep their backline under more immense pressure. And you're a lot harder to clear than hog because of your shield or because of your rock here. So that's kind of the difference there. It's sure hog can get a one-shot kill, but you can essentially stay here and their backline are zoned for the next 3 or 4, for the next, not even 3 or 4 seconds, right? For the next 10 seconds, because of how dangerous you can be. But I guess the point of being is that you can also do that from here while still marking out the hog. You can still, again, zone the backline here, shoot these guys off, again, shoot the enemy Ash, make it back off, and then, again, once they're zoned off, then you can turn around and burn the hog here, and cut them off, essentially. But yeah.
Boom.
Okay. Now you do it. Yeah, now the only time you do it is because when the hog's gone off high ground. When the hog's gone into the little hole, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah. Obviously there's some mechanics there, right? You missed the one shot onto the enemy.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Marcy, I don't really care about that too much. That'll come with time. Okay, and again, like, you know, like, I get why you're looking at the hog so much here, right? To be fair. But But again, it's this quick glance, this glance that you're doing right now. That's all that needs to happen. Just this glance, right? You see nobody here, then you turn immediately back to the Ashe, right? Who's more aggressive right now? The Hog coming through here, who's somewhere over here probably, or the enemy Ashe? Who requires your attention?
At this point, I feel like I want to shoot the Hog and put barrier in front of the Ashe.
Right, so yeah, right, something else you could do here maybe, right? Maybe you put down the
Or, like,
barrier, right?
barrier the Ashe and poke her whilst walking back to point.
Right, you can you can do two things at once here, right? You can
Right.
barrier the Ashe, walk at the point, and then turn and burn the Hog here, right? You can zone the
Yeah.
Ashe and then burn the Hog here, right? But the point of being is that you're kind of doing you're just doing one of these things, right? You're just looking to burn the Hog without having to zone the Ashe because of it, and because of that,
Yeah.
right? If I go to Ashe's POV, right, don't block the dynamite there because again you're not zoning the Ashe physically, so you're not physically exerting your presence. You're not scaring the Ashe away. Number one, but number two, there's no shield here, right? Which is really unfortunate, and then catches your break there because of it. So again, you're focusing a little bit too much on Hog here, which again is reasonable. I don't mind that, right? But it shouldn't come at the cost of the Ashe. It's a big thing.
Right.
But yeah. Now, this is what I mean by physically exerting it. This is exactly what I meant by physically exerting your presence here. By just physically body blocking the Ashe, shooting her in front of you, making the Ashe be like, you know what? You need to go through my team. You need to go through me if you want to get to my team here, essentially. This is what I wanted to see a little bit more over here. Or again, you can shield her off too, but of course the shield here kind of doing nothing. But yeah. When do you put down your shield actually? I'm curious.
God.
Okay. So put it down once there. Which is obviously not great. Put it down here again.
And then
And
go.
then the shield here is just vapid, you know? This shield here
Yeah.
isn't even an ability. You honestly might as well be playing Malga and burning down the enemy Hog here. And running them over.
Yeah.
It's really the only... You'd honestly be getting more value by doing that. But yeah. Hell, even on Malga, you still are looking to go on backline anyways. That's a whole different discussion. But yeah. Thankfully, you eventually get the Ashe kill. But again, it's just too late, too little, too late, honestly. Or still might be too little, too late, yeah. Okay. Nice walk. Nice. Okay. Sure. Yeah, of course, the hook there's the micro, right? Like, I honestly don't mind fluxing this. You just need to make sure he hasn't got hook. It's the big thing. Which obviously you don't know. You should know here, rather. So, of course, you've got triggers to go for the flux here, right? Like, the fight's still winnable. Their team's still punishable. Marcy's in open space. They've got no Suzu. There are triggers for this, right? It's just the hook. The hook is the main thing. Let's get ready. Okay. We'll see. Yeah. Probably will die for this, right? Maybe. Grasp is huge. Rock's good. Okay. Unfortunately, you get hooked to the holder.
Devoed.
Yeah, and then you're using
Walk of shame.
Yeah. Not ideal.
And then grasp just to stagger myself.
Yeah, great. Okay. We'll see here. Hook's marked, nice. So this is really important, right? So you block you attempt to block it with shield, fine. I think the second you see Hog Hook being thrown out, I would immediately just put it down. So here, put your shield down. Stop putting it out. Just immediately put it down. Because again, you need as much time as you can spent shielding off the enemy Ashes as we've seen throughout the entire VOD. But the fact that you've turned around is really important. This is really important, right? You're now looking at the enemy Ashe. Nice shield, good, really nice. And now that they've de-peaked this, right? You know they're walking back. This is really important. They've walked back, and now you put down your shield there because of it, right? Which is really good. So far, pretty good so far. Where might you want to move to from here?
I kind of want to go through the right.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd agree. Right, absolutely.
Just love that little right rim. Yeah.
And then you get this really nice angle on. Look at this. This angle is really nice.
It's juicy.
Right? Really juicy angle. Could potentially get a kill into the Ashe here, right? So it could look really good here. Okay. The rock's not amazing. I mean, I guess there's two parts to this rock, right? Which is like you kind of need to hit the rock for it to be a good rock. In other words, like again, you're banking on the one shot
High
kill.
risk, high reward. Yeah.
Exactly, right? Which is not
She's
something that.
in Kitsune though. She's moving all.
Yeah, it's hard to hit her, right?
Yeah.
There's also the shield here too, which again, you're shielding off a Kiriko, and what should you ideally be shielding off here?
I think Ash has gone right,
Maybe,
and
right? Maybe
Hog's
she's gone right.
flanking my team around the left.
Right? So
Um,
there's two things here, right? Which is shielding the aggression from the Ashe and the Hog. And again, it's good that you're thinking about this, right? It's just that again, you
yeah,
can't. The Ashe isn't main here, so don't shield the Ashe if she's not here, right? And the Hog's also going on his own adventure, so I wouldn't shield him off here right now. Until maybe he's looking at you, right? Then you can shield him off. That's fine.
yeah.
But yeah, right now, nothing warrants your shield. Kiriko right now does not warrant your shield. Okay,
Okay.
and the force
I need
away.
to think of like how my attention is a resource, and I need to like be like managing that really carefully,
Right, because here you're
rather
very
than
tunneled on looking at the Kiri. Um,
yeah,
and again, it's like, hey, I don't, again, I don't really necessarily mind this because you know you to get the one-shot kill, but the big thing is that you're ignoring the opportunity cost is the Hog and
yeah,
the Ashe again, by virtue of you playing down here. And this is where again we get into like rotations, right? And you kind of mentioned it here, right? Flanking to the right here would have been really nice. You can back it up here. Right, even forgetting Obel's right here for a moment, flanking through here, let's see we went through here, like, that Mercy's just dead, she's just immediately dead, and then this, Ashe is probably dead as a result, right? It just gives you a really nice angle that they can't really flush you out from, I guess is the big thing. Of course the reason here they might be scary is because of the Hog here, which I do understand, but I guess it's more so a case of, again, you can stay on this angle for way longer than Hog can, and in terms of your value as a character, you'll be getting way more value here, playing from this angle than the Hog will be from his own angle down main, wherever he's going. So I'll think about your own value as Sigma and your own aggression, your own angle, rather than that coming at a cost of again the enemy Hog here. Because again, you could have killed the enemy Mercy, Ashe, and by proxy, Kiriko too.
yeah.
But rather than just going down main because of it. But yeah. Okay, even that applies to the last fight here too, honestly. I wouldn't have minded flanking through here and just keeping their backline at bay for the next 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds. But yeah. Okay. The idea being though, obviously, is that by drawing their backline for so long, it should be easier for your team to just mark a Hog and burn him. Again, very similar to what we saw in the second fight on the first point. But yeah. Of course, that fight there, the main issue was just tunneling onto Kiri way too much. And then not taking a good angle there.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Let's do this fight here. Okay. Notice how, before you even gone in, your shields are already gone.
Yeah.
And again, you shield here before you even see the aggression from the enemy team, right? Mate, icicles, not that scary. You haven't got to shield this. Fine. Again, I'm not going to cry about this too much though. They're going to link into visual aggro, which again is a higher concept that probably goes a little bit above your pay grade. But yeah. Because now shield would be quite nice, right? Either to block off the hook, probably to block off the hook, right? So shielding here, and then shooting the Ashe, forcing her away. That's how you would push this. But yeah. Of course, you got to bait the hook there, so nice. A wall, that's good. Go forward a little bit more. Okay. Okay. Nice shield onto the Ashe, nice. Rock. I would have wanted that on the Ashe there. Notice how after you get hooked, you shield the Ashe. And this is what I want to be seeing, right? And notice how for a split second, by you doing this, right, you have a very short window of time where you zone these characters off, which allows you to sort of temporarily burn the Hog here, right? It just so happens here as well that you get the Ashe here really, really low, which is really nice, and that gives you a trigger to dive, not almost, yeah, but essentially dive almost, but pressure and actually hard engage onto the enemy Ashe and look for the kill, because of the way that you zone the backline away, which is quite nice. Like a rock there onto the Ashe would have been quite nice because you get the kill there basically.
Yeah.
There again, fine. You can outplay the hook, fine, nice. Okay. Sure. Fine.
Oh my god.
Yeah, mechanics here are not
Oh
good.
god. No.
Just take your time in between your shots, right? You haven't got to put it at the Do you hold down your M1?
I don't know. I might have been here.
Right, so yeah, I wouldn't just like hold it down the entire time. Basically, I would just tap it once and then readjust across there. Tap it once, readjust. Yeah. Okay.
That's rough.
A bit unfortunate. It ends up working out well because you stagger her out quite well. So we'll see a tactical stagger there. But yeah. Okay. Hook's fine. Alright, after you block the hook from the hog, what do you need to be doing?
Pull the shield back straight away.
And then what else?
Look where his team is.
Right. I want to know where the May's going to kill right now. Where the hell's the May? Where the hell's the enemy team?
Yeah.
You know, like you look around, look for aggression, right? If Ash was peeking down main here, and you need to be shooting that off, or again marking her off at the same period of time. Thankfully, your brick gets a big whip shot, right? But yeah, you didn't even realize the May there was to the right, you know. Thankfully, the whip shot from the May from your brick makes it a lot easier there. Vision, that's fine. Shield. What's shield? Yeah, you need to be shielding off the May here. No shield still. Grasping a May. Yeah, no shield there at all. Again, just so tunneled, you know.
Yeah.
On hitting shots here. Again, I don't really care about whether you kill the May here or not.
Not even really hitting them.
Yeah. Which is part of it, right? But I don't really care about the shots being here or not. I just care about you living here. And actually marking at the May angle, which you could have done with shield. And shield is a little bit too far. The shield's doing nothing. Rocket's good. Nice. Very messy there, micro-wise.
Yeah.
Okay. See here, because it gets lost by territory. Okay. Sure. Okay. What do you need to be looking at right now?
Who's shooting on mid?
Right. I can hear Soldier using his bullets right now.
Yeah.
I have no idea where he's at because you're so tunneled on the hog, right? You know roughly where the hog's at. Can you shoot off hog right now from what you can see?
No.
No, you can't, right? Because you can't see him. You can't see him. And he's not peeking you. He's not here. His big body's not here. You can't shoot him off here. He's not peeking top right. So you can't shoot him off here either. Just look at the enemy team now, right? Your team's dealing with it. Look at the rest of the enemy team, right? Split them off from his team, right? This is it, right? So maybe zooming out here could make that a little bit clearer. Soldier's down main here. Sure, that's useless. Right. But look at this. This can never happen. This can never happen in a billion years. This is what your character is built for. It's making sure I'm preventing aggression from the soldier. The soldier right now is aggressing onto your Junkrat, right? But you can mark that. And I think that's sort of been the key lesson, I think, the entire VOD, is how tunneled you've been on certain targets. And forgetting that your character design is really, really good at marking specific moments of aggression. And this is it. I guarantee you right now, you're not looking at soldier. Well, now you are, right? But maybe a little bit a second ago. Okay. Right, before you even do it, it's too little too late, right? Like, you can't actually go on soldier at all right now, which is really unfortunate. And maybe if you back this up a little bit more here, you could have actually walked forward, played this corner here, help out your Junkrat, mark the soldier, rock off the May, and keep your Junkrat alive and control this area, which would have been really nice. And then your team could have dealt with Hog. But yeah, really unfortunate. Now you're AFK, and then your Junkrat dies because of your inability to mark out the angle there. And it's really unfortunate because you lose this fight probably. Yeah, because there's not much time in the code left. And your team's got, what, 3 ultimates here? So it's going to become very messy here, essentially. Okay. Has he got hook? He just used it. Okay, you just used it, fair enough. Sure. Again, it's like, why are we fluxing a hog who can live through your flux quite easily? No? Why aren't we fluxing these targets? Or this target right here, right? Exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
And even then, there's still an argument micro-wise to not even flux, because I haven't seen Suzu yet, and I haven't seen Life Grip being forced out yet, right? So even if you get this guy, you'll just get gripped out. But yeah. Yeah, just get gripped out anyways. But again, look, where's the soldier? I have no idea. Where is he? Is he dead? I've got no clue. He's actually, he's pissed off here, right? Thankfully, your Brig's the one clearing him out, thankfully. Again, it's like you're so tunneled on the hog. I've got no idea. Hooked in anyways, and then, I'm useless. Here we go. Rock's okay. Shutting off there's a good attempt. But again, you can see how again I would have preferred you rocking off the angle here because it just does more and it threatens the kill more than it does against the Hawk. The rock's okay, but again it's the opportunity cost, right? Which again could have been the aggro here. Hopefully again you can shut down the soldier here. I hope. Gasp is good. Okay. Okay. Okay, Hawk gets marked, fine. Okay. Shield is not great. Like, Soldier this entire time has been running around killing your team, you know? Because you've been so focused on frontlining him. There's been multiple times where you could have marked him. I think this sort of first initial fight there was the really important factor. It's the visual cue. Okay, Hawk's used hook, I look around now. Because there's aggressions in that. I can't aggress onto him, and I blocked off his key aggression anyways. Now I'm going to be looking out for more characters that I can more easily mark with my shots. I can more easily mark out with my rock, and I can more easily get kills on because they're lower HP. And the soldier there's been the key case. If he's dead there before we even, before the blitz is even out, the fight goes a lot more differently. They're very unfortunate that your team loses this fight here. Okay. Yeah, I think fight's gonna be lost there, yeah. Okay, we'll do a quick summary here. And then I'll answer any questions you have at the end. But big thing has to be marking aggression from squishies, specifically the DPS in mid fights, which comes into again the visual cues of knowing when to ignore hog, almost doing like a turn and burn kind of thing where you can just zone off an area for very long, which splits hog. I think third point, again, this last point there, or the second point rather, is a really good example of that. Because again, you could have just kept that backline preoccupied for 10 plus seconds, and that does so much for your team to be able to clear a hog.
Yeah.
You can stand on an angle 20 meters away with shield, hook them out, and they can't do anything about you. The only thing they can do is walk you over, but they're not running a mobile comp to do that. So that's really important. And again, we've seen multiple times where I think the second, third fight on first point where you sort of forgot that the Ashe even existed is really important. We'll get into the micro here with like shielding off here, right? So maybe again, talk about the micro with marking. So shooting, and look around, shoot, look.
Yeah.
I want more creations on squishies. Ideally ones who are aggressive. What else? Let me think. Is splitting resources. I.e. shielding off Ashe soldier while shooting a low HP Mei. I think that was a good case of it. On the second fight where Mei was low and you were so tunneled, and it was fine to shoot Mei because she was low, as it was to fine to shoot Og because he's low. But the key thing's the shield. I think shield's a really important thing. Actually, I'll probably put shield in bracket. Because that's really the key source of your marking.
Right.
But yeah, actually we'll say this. We'll say this shield micro here. Again, putting it down immediately. Down. After. Hook. Again. Ashe. Soldier. Get scan angles. With it. And again, the Mei, Ashe. Good case. And it's not like, again, it's not in mutually exclusive from shooting different target. So again, you can basically meaning
Yeah.
you can shoot off Ashe while shooting Mei. Of course, if Mei's
Yeah.
not low, then I would just be shooting Ashe anyways. Because she's just playing more aggressively. So again, if the Hog isn't low, the Mei isn't low, if the front line isn't low, then you can just keep shooting their DPS. That's fine. But yeah, that's the key nuance there. That's the key distinction. And third thing, we'll just say some mid-fight rotation stuff. There's some few positions there where you can stay on high grounds and move to the left. On fast fights, you can flank to right. On second point, a lot more. Or in these cases, in this specific game, you could have done that a lot more. And then again, the idea here is to like zone and mark Ashe soldier, and then if you get them low, then the kill, which we've actually seen a few times where, hey, I've shut off the Ashe, I've gotten 2 hyperspheres off, now I can actually look to rock and get the Ashe. I think a good case of that was like over here, where like over here you shot the Ashe, you actually got like a really nice shield here, because Hog was like playing here, and Ashe was like here, you got a really nice shield, you shot the Ashe too, and you could have actually rocked the Ashe and gotten the kill. Could have been quite nice.
Yeah.
So yeah. But yeah, in other words, the key theme's been a greater mindset to marking, threatening, and zoning off hit scan players. It's the big thing. Because they tend to be more aggressive. Aggression's really the key thing with your character. But yeah, any questions?
No, I think I'm good. I think you covered it all. Could I get like the VOD, or
Oh yeah.
would
So
you upload it somewhere or
I'll
anything?
upload it to like I've got a coaching channel which I'll upload it to. I'll link it to you after
Oh,
it's
okay,
done
cool.
uploading. It might take a few
Oh,
days because
thanks.
yeah, I've got a few sessions I still need to upload. I'll link that to you when it's done uploading for sure.
Cool.
But yeah, barring that, good luck climbing. Any other questions?